5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to Cooking the Books, where I take that book list collecting dust in the corner and read it to you so you don't have to. Because nobody's got time for that. Hope everybody's having a good day, having a good week. Middle of the week stream is kind of nice, I hope. Just for me. Helps me get through. So yeah, ready to get another couple chapters done here. How's everybody doing? I've got another themed. It's not really particularly themed. It's Dragon Ball Z, but it's technically not the Sun Wukong version of person. Because I don't like that character in Dragon Ball Z. This is my boo, right here. What's going on, the goddess? Hello, how are you? Always here because you're loyal. I don't know if I want to. Oh, hi, Dom. How's it going? Welcome. Oh, and I figured out that I can do rounded corners. So the square one might be my new favorite one instead of the circle. What do you guys think? And I still get my background. Dom probably still will be upset, but whatever. What's up, Kel? How's it going? Ooh, I went too far. I have to pull this up because I have to. It's necessary for all things in all things. You have a question. Who's quicker learner of things, John Carter or this monkey? I mean, technically, I think John Carter is quicker because they do go through a passage of time with the monkey. It just doesn't seem like it because it's a few sentences describing the years or the weeks or the months or whatever it is. So I still think it's John Carter. And as to not upset Dom, his smart-ass question here, he thinks he's so cute. I will bring it up. It just wasn't going to be the first thing I brought up as a greeting from you. Sir, it's rude. I'm not reading it, but the rest of the world can if they so feel. Hey, what's up, Maza? I'm not going to shut up, but thanks for being here. I mean, even if it's a round peg, it'll still go in the square hole. Maybe, depending on the size. Hi, Maz. Glad you guys are here. Let me see. Sorry, there's new stuff in StreamYard. Yes, no S on the end. StreamYard. So I've been kind of like playing around with it and distracting myself. I apologize. Oh, that's where you do that. Okay. If I bungle things up at some point, oh well. You'll forgive me, right? I just drag it. Outro video. I'm just going to play around. Don't mind me. Talk amongst yourselves before I get into a recap. Sorry, I feel like I'm not in full energy mode. I apologize. Well, it's not loading for me. There we go. I have too many videos. Oh no. There we go. Come on. Screw it. Okay, I'm done. I'm done playing. It's going to take too much time. I should have looked at it before stream. Anyway, it's not on theme, but here is my mug for the day. Quick, what is this from? I'm your Huckleberry. Who wins in a fight between John Carter and Sun Wukong? On Earth or on Mars? No. It's getting cold here, so I couldn't, like it's somewhat warm-ish right now, but I have two hoodies. One is in the laundry waiting to be washed that are on theme. Maybe I'll wear it next week. Then I have like 3 or 4 shirts. So, yeah. On Mars, huh? Who wins in a fight on Mars? John Carter or Sun Wukong? Although, are we following the rules of assuming that Sun Wukong is based on Earth? I mean, that's kind of the idea. Because if he were on Mars, he'd also have the same abilities as John Carter. I'm going to go with Sun Wukong. Yep, it's Sun Wukong. He trained for longer, at least as far as the first book for John Carter, because that is all I know from the movie in the first book of John Carter. So he's not been training as long-ish. Time is very weird with that too, but that's my determination. With him being a faster learner, that allows for more mistakes, even though he does have a lot of plot armor. Sun Wukong has been doing it for longer. He hasn't quite learned any lessons yet. He's on the path to learning lessons with this one, which is good. Yes, see, and that's where I was applying that as well. It would give them the same advantages as John Carter has. Yeah. Yeah, he's very OP, kind of like Goku. Freaking Goku drives me up the wall. He's kind of dumb like Goku too. He doesn't think past his own nose, like of consequences, or doesn't have like the social wherewithal to understand how he's coming off as kind of an asshole without realizing it. It was cute and funny when Goku was young in Dragon Ball. Not so much when he's an adult and has a kid, and then kids, like, it's kind of frustrating. If you learned anything from the John Carter movie, they'll just feed him some well, to make him beef. It's a valid point. Learn the language. I'm sure he could learn some sort of special Martian technique via juice instead of having to work at it. That is kind of frustrating. Because at least in the book, I'm sure, multiple books, he actually had to learn at it and had the capability of doing so. And wasn't just a dumb, well, okay, I shouldn't be mean because Sun Wukong's not necessarily dumb because he is a quick learner. Whatever. Hey, Blue Cord. How's it going? Thanks for the snacks. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Hope your girls are good. Are they all girls? The puppers? I forgot how high that was and it was really hot. That did not feel good. Careful of your tea, woman. Good Lord. Blonde moment caught live. I thought so. They're so cute. I hope they're doing well too. All right, everybody. Let's probably do a recap, huh? I barely remember what happened. I know he goes to the dragon's lair, the Dragon King's lair. But I feel like there was stuff before that. Did he just get home in chapter 2? And he slayed the King of Havoc? What was his name? Monstrous King of Havoc. King received his name. Grateful salutation. Oh wow, yeah. He totally like I forgot. Okay, so back to chapter 2. He basically tells the patriarch, as he's so deemed, Subodhi, that he doesn't want to learn anything specifically of the arts, the different kinds of arts, because he's impatient, essentially. Because each one individually does not lead to immortality. It eventually frustrates the patriarch, who sends him a hidden message that he deciphers rather easily. So he's pretty smart. And he what's up, Andy Pickle? How's it going? Welcome, sir. So he follows what he deciphered. And eventually he's on third watch in the middle of the night, goes to the patriarch through like the back door of the house, and waits for him to wake up so he can be taught in secret. Eventually he learns all he needs to, well, for immortality. And he kind of starts showing off a little bit for the others. And when the patriarch finds that out, he basically gets kicked out because he doesn't want his people endangered, himself endangered. And if Sun Wukong were to be doing those things to people outside of their little village area, they'd start asking questions or they'd want to learn. And if he didn't tell them, they might get angry and attack him until he does tell them. Or he might just be so vain, he's such a braggart, as it were, to outright tell them without much of a prompt because he wants to show off. So he gets kicked out and he has to go home, which is rather easy because he can do his cloud jumping, basically rides Nimbus home, if you get that reference from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I guess cloud somersaulting is more what it is instead of cloud running or cloud walking. And once he gets home, his people, or his monkey people, is really happy to see him because they didn't know how long they would last with this monstrous king of havoc in a neighboring kingdom had come over and stole a bunch of people and a bunch of treasures from them and was just all around being a dick. So Sun Wukong does his fast travel, instant transmission type of stuff to basically go take back his shit and his people and put this guy in his place, which he does easily and goes home. The guy's a giant. He takes his scimitar. It's too uncomfortable and unwieldy because it's so huge. Once everybody's home, he then goes to Dragon King place. It's like I think all of the dragons are under the ocean, essentially. So he kind of bullies the Dragon King to give him stuff for like warrior type of garb. And eventually he gets this metal that he can use to bend to his own will. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but he's able to bend it to his will. It's like 13,000 tons or something like that. It's extremely heavy, and that's why he's able to bully these dragons, because he's showing off his clear power, which scares them. Let's see. It was an iron rod more than 20 feet long and as thick as a barrel. Using all his might, he lifted it with both hands, saying, "It's too long and too thick. It would be more serviceable if it were somewhat shorter and thinner." That's when he discovered that he could essentially bend it to his will and make it take any shape that he wants it to take. And so he eventually takes that and wants clothes that are befitting to match it. But the Dragon King has to call on his 3 brothers from the Northern Ocean, I think the Eastern, Southern, I can't remember which one. But all Dragon Kings of the 4 oceans basically are bullied into giving him new garb. And he goes home. This doesn't sit well with the dragons, so they petition like the heavens, essentially. The Holy Emperor is the one that receives it. He also has a dream where he thinks it's a dream, where he died and essentially goes to hell or similar. And basically he doesn't understand, because he's an immortal, like why his name is on the ledger of the King of Hell. So once he realizes what's going on, he gets to like the sorry, I feel like I'm so off my game tonight, so I apologize. There's a lot of uhs and ums going on, and I hate that. King of Death, region of the darkness, the handsome king at once became fully conscious. It's the abode of Yama, King of Death. Asks why he's there. Attacks the people that are trying to bring him in. And he gets to the Palace of Darkness, Great kings, disaster, disaster. Outside, there's a hairy-faced thunder god fighting his way in. So the 10 kings of the underworld come out. That's who he bullies. And eventually he's able to erase his name and as many monkeys from his kingdom as he can possibly find, take them completely off of the ledger so they're no longer on the books and cannot be summoned to once they death. Oh my lord. I swear I'm here. I promise. Oh my goodness, guys. All I want is to erase my name. Bring me a brush. Let's see. Wukong took the ledger on monkeys and crossed out all the names he could find in it, throwing down the ledger. This ends the account. That ends the account. Now I'm truly not your subject. Yeah, so they're not going to become the subjects of King Yama, the underworld. And so they also send a petition to the Holy Emperor, I believe is, yes, the Holy Emperor. We shall turn instead to the great benevolent sage of heaven, the celestial jade emperor of the most venerable Deva, who was holding court one day in the treasure hall of divine mists, the cloud palace of golden arches. So think McDonald's, I guess. But basically, the Dragon Kings explain in their petition, and the Region of Darkness explains in their petition. And so the Jade Emperor has to take action. And there is someone that, rather than basically destroying him, I guess, taking away his immortality, the long life spirit of the planet Venus came forward. Within the 3 regions, all creatures endowed with the 9 apertures can, through exercise, become immortals. It's not surprising that this monkey, with a body nurtured by heaven and earth, a frame born of the sun and moon, should achieve immortality, seeing that his head points to heaven and his feet walk on earth, and that he feeds on the dew and the mist. Let's see. Now that he has the power to subdue dragons and tame tigers, how is he different from a human being? Your subject, therefore, makes so bold as to ask your majesty to remember the compassionate grace of creation and issue a decree of pacification. Let him be summoned to the upper region and given some kind of official duties. So basically, they go down and summon him, and he leaves his people to basically go say, no, I'm not going to stay in heaven with you and take this punishment. I am sorry that you have to leave with empty hands, is what he said. We are honored by your presence, said Wukong. I'm sorry that you have to leave with empty hands. He then called the 4 mighty commanders together for his admonition. Be diligent in teaching and drilling the young ones. Let me go up to heaven to take a look and to see whether I can have you all brought up there to live with me. Brought up there to live with me. I was about to correct the grammar, and then I realized. The 4 mighty commanders indicated their obedience. Yep. And so he goes into the sky. And the story will soon continue once I start chapter 4. But I did want to say hello to a couple people, or to... Where'd you go? Blue-eyed Scorpio, I know I saw you. Oh, hello. Welcome. Down with the patriarchy. Yeah, something like that. Isn't he going around taking weapons? I did miss that. He went to like a neighboring country based on a suggestion by one of the people to go like purchase weaponry, because he realized that all of their shenanigans of doing like military drills and such may lead to neighboring kingdoms getting worried that they would be attacked, so they might attack first. So he wanted them to, instead of using basically like LARPing swords and wooden swords and such, he wanted them to have real swords and weaponry to defend themselves in case the need ever arose. So he goes to the neighboring kingdom, but decides to use his abilities to just steal from everybody. He like conjured up a tornado in the village or whatever, and everybody went inside and abandoned all of their carts and whatnot. And he found essentially an armory and took as much as he could and brought it back. He didn't buy anything. It was just quicker this way. It was easier this way. These are the telltale Goku signs of him not considering the consequences of his actions and how they might affect people and himself eventually. So thank you, Dom, for that reminder. But yes, this was a much quicker summary, so thanks. Yes, it did end with the people from heaven inviting him up. Down with the sickness, Rey Skywalking. And of course, I'd pull up the one that's a "that's what she said" joke. I'm not even going to read your question, Dom. So I was confused at that part. So that wasn't a dream. No. It is a little confusing because he's not dead. So I don't know. Maybe he like projected himself down there. I don't really know. It was unclear to me. Maybe I'll go back and take a look if time doesn't, pass me by like usual. Power through, huh? I guess I could. What's up, Cliff? No snacks. Blue Cord Devil gave me snacks. What, it's my stream, so you're not going to give me snacks? Oh, God, woman, why are you here? Really? Nobody misses your book, Shirley Jackson. Hi, Jack. How's it going? Oh, Sam, hello. No one. Of course, how you would greet the first time in chat would be to be snarky to Shirley Jackson. I like it. Definitely your style. Oh, look, and then he says hi to everybody else. Jesus Christ. Sam? Mudcrab, hi. You're late and gay. Yes, you are. Well done, sir. You're not a Dragon Ball Z guy, but something tells you not good. Yeah, definitely not a Goku fan. I have a window. So because I'm the only person in here, you guys don't get to see my background, but StreamYard has updated some things to where I can here. Normally, y'all would see me like this, and I would be covering the background completely. And last week, I was like this. With the new capabilities, you can do this, and even if you're an individual person, so you guys can see my background. I'm still very iffy on this one, but I realized that there's a handy dandy rounded corners button because I didn't really like it where it was just like this and plain for the bigger picture, but not full picture. I'm a girl. Get it all out. Whatever. So yeah, that's why you can see the window over here and then like this bookshelf over here. I'm going to remove myself, but I wish this background was my like actual reading nook. And I really, really want that. So yeah, brief explanation of that since you missed it last week, sir. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. That's lazy, but I'll take it. Hi, Prof. Welcome. It is the day swap. I'm not used to Thursday morning yet. Oh, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. You weirdos down under. Don't be petty. If you're going to be here, be nice. I'm not going to tell him that because, first of all, he doesn't listen to me. Second of all, I don't want him to be because I don't like you. Mostly, I don't like your book. I don't really know you to like you. But your writing tells me a lot. Problem is, with so many windows, you can get you reading. Yes, that is true. Very, very true. Oh, okay. Blame the government. I got it. That is a nice touch, sir. Has he told you that he finally got it because he emailed them? He basically turned into a Karen. And this entire time, I've had dark mode because I use Brave and I don't have issues. I'm gonna knock on wood with that. All right, now that I'm 30 minutes in, we should probably get started with chapter 4, huh? You're not here for me to blather on and on. It's a different kind of stream for a different day. At least how I say. Yes. He's probably gonna hurt me for outing him while live. Shh, don't tell him. It wasn't me. I didn't say anything, I swear. Oops. On that note, chapter 4. Appointed a ban horse, could he be content? Named equal to heaven, he's still not appeased. The gold star of Venus left the depths of the cave dwelling with the handsome monkey king, and together they rose by mounting the clouds. But the cloud somersault of Wukong, you see, is no common magic. Its speed is tremendous. Soon he left the gold star far behind and arrived first at the south heaven gate. He was about to dismount from the cloud and go in when the Devaraja Varudhaka, leading Pang, Lu, Ko, Bi, Deng, Jin, Zhang, and Tao. Yeah. The various divine heroes barred the way with spears, scimitars, swords, and halberds and refused him entrance. The Monkey King said, "What a deceitful fellow that Gold Star is. If Old Monkey has been invited here, why have these people been ordered to use their swords and spears to bar my entrance?" He was protesting loudly when the Gold Star arrived in haste. "Old man," said Wukong angrily to his face, "why did you deceive me? You told me that I was invited by the Jade Emperor's decree of pacification. Why then did you get these people to lock the heaven gate and prevent my entering?" "Let the great king calm down," the Gold Star said, laughing. "Since you have never been to the Hall of Heaven before, nor have you been given a name, you are quite unknown to the various heavenly guardians. How can they let you in on their own authority? Once you have seen the heavenly Deva..." Pardon me while I deal with a mouse issue. I'll be right back. I apologize. They do matter when they're not hiding under a refrigerator because the cat decided not to kill it before bringing it inside. His timing is superb. I will deal with it later. Carrying on. My bad, guys. Sorry. Let me find where I was. Since you have never been to the hall of heaven before, nor have you been given a name, you are quite unknown to the various heavenly guardians. How can they let you in on their own authority? Once you have seen the heavenly deva, are you for real right now? Really? Y'all can't see him, but he's a pain in my ass. Get down. Go on. Received an appointment and had your name listed in the immortal register, you can go in and out as you please. Who would then obstruct your way? If that's how it is, said Wukong, it's all right, but I'm not going in by myself. Then go in with me, said the Gold Star, pulling him by the hand. As they approached the gate, the Gold Star called out loudly, Guardians of the Heaven Gate, lieutenants, great and small, make way. This person is an immortal from the region below, whom I have summoned by the imperial decree of the Jade Emperor. The Deva Raja Varudhaka and the various divine heroes immediately lowered their weapons and stepped aside, and the Monkey King finally believed what he had been told. He walked slowly inside the Gold Star, with the Gold Star, and looked around, for it was truly his first ascent to the region above, his sudden entrance into the hall of heaven, where 10,000 shafts of golden light whirled as a coral rainbow, and 1,000 layers of hallowed air diffused mists of purple. Look at that south heaven gate. Its deep shades of green from great glazed tiles were made, its radiant battlements adorned with treasure jade. On two sides were posted scores of celestial sentinels, each of whom, standing tall beside the pillars, carried bows and clutched banners. All around were sundry divine beings in golden armor, each of them holding halberds and whips, or wielding scimitars and swords. Impressive may be the outer court, overwhelming is the sight within. In the inner walls stood several huge pillars, circled by red-whiskered dragons, whose golden scales gleamed in the sun. There were, moreover, a few long bridges. Above them, crimson-headed phoenixes circled with soaring plumes of many hues. Bright mist shimmered in the light of the sky. Green fog descending obscured the stars. 33 heavenly mansions were found up here, with names like the Scattered Cloud, the Vaisvarana, the Pankavidya, the Suyama, the Nirma Narati. On the roof of every mansion, the ridge held a stately golden beast. There were also the 72 treasure halls, with names like the Morning Assembly, the Transcendent Void, the Precious Light, the Heavenly King, the Divine Minister. In every hall beneath the pillars stood rows of jade unicorn. On the platform of Canopus, there were flowers unfading in 1,000 millennia. Beside the oven for refining herbs, there were exotic grasses growing green for 10,000 years. He went before the tower of homage to the sage, where he saw robes of royal purple gauze, brilliant as stars refulgent, caps the shapes of hibiscus, resplendent with gold and precious stones, and pins of jade in shoes of pearl, and purple sashes and golden ornaments. When the golden bells swayed to their striking, the memorial of the 3 judges would cross the vermilion courtyard. When the drums of heaven were sounded, 10,000 sages of the royal audience would honor the Jade Emperor. He went, too, to the treasure hall of divine mists, where nails of gold penetrated frames of jade, and colorful phoenixes danced atop scarlet doors. Here were covered bridges and winding corridors, displaying everywhere open-work carvings most elegant, and eaves crowding together in layers 3 and 4, on each of which reared up phoenixes and dragons. There was high above a round dome, big, bright, and brilliant, its shape a huge gourd of purple gold, below which guardian goddesses hung out their fans and jade maidens held up their immortal veils. Ferocious were the sky marshals overseeing the court, dignified the divine officials protecting the throne. There at the center, on a crystal platter, tablets of the great monad elixir were heaped, and rising out of the cornelian vases were several branches of twisting coral. So it was that rare goods of every order were found in heaven's hall, and nothing like them on earth could ever be seen. Those golden arches, silver coaches, and that heavenly house, those coraline blooms and jasper plants with their buds of jade. The jade rabbit passed the platform to adore the king. The golden crow flew by to worship the sage. Blessed was the monkey king coming to this heavenly realm, he who was not mired in the filthy soil of man. The gold star of Venus led the handsome monkey king to the treasure hall of divine mists, and without waiting for further announcement, they went into the imperial presence. While the star prostrated himself, Wukong stood erect by him. Showing no respect, he cocked his ear only to listen to the report of the gold star. According to your decree, said the gold star, your subject has brought the bogus immortal. Which one is the bogus immortal? Asked the Jade Emperor graciously. Only then did Wukong bow and reply, none other than Old Monkey. Blanching with horror, the various divine officials said, that wild ape? Already he has failed to prostrate himself before the throne, and now he dares to come forward with such an insolent reply as none other than Old Monkey? He is worthy of death, worthy of death. That fellow, son Wukong, is a bogus immortal from the region below, announced the Jade Emperor, and he has only recently acquired the form of a human being. We shall pardon him this time for his ignorance of court etiquette. Thank you, your majesty, cried the various divine officials. Only then did the Monkey King bow deeply with folded hands and utter a cry of gratitude. The Jade Emperor then ordered the divine officials, both civil and military, to see what vacant appointment there might be for son Wukong to receive. From the side came the star spirit of Wuku, who reported, in every mansion and hall everywhere in the palace of heaven, there is no lack of ministers. Only at the imperial stables is a supervisor needed. Let him be made a ban horse plague, proclaimed the Jade Emperor. The various subjects again shouted their thanks, but Monkey only bowed deeply and gave a loud whoop of gratitude. The Jade Emperor then sent the star spirit of Jupiter to accompany him to the stables. The Monkey King went happily with the star spirit of Jupiter to the stables in order to assume his duties. After the star spirit had returned to his own mansion, the new officer gathered together the deputy and assistant supervisors, the accountants and stewards, and other officials, both great and small, and made thorough investigation of all the affairs at the stables. There were about 1,000 celestial horses, and they were all Hualis and Sheetsis, Lures and Gionlis, consorts of dragons and purple swallows, folded wings and Sujiangs, Juetis and silver hooves, Yauniaos and flying yellows, chestnuts and faster than arrows, red hares and speedier than lights, leaping lights and vaulting shadows, rising fogs and triumphant yellows, wind chasers and distance breakers, flying pinions and surging airs, rushing winds and fiery lightnings, copper sparrows and drifting clouds, dragon-like piebalds and tiger-like pintos, dust quenchers and purple scales and ferganas from the four corners. Like the 8 steeds and 9 stallions, they have no rivals within 1,000 miles. Such are these fine horses, every one of which neighs like the wind and gallops like thunder to show a mighty spirit. They tread the mist and mount the clouds with unflagging strength. Our Monkey King went through the lists and made a thorough inspection of the horses. Within the imperial stables, the accountants were in charge of getting supplies. The stewards groomed and washed the horses, chopped hay, watered them, and prepared their food. And the deputies and assistants saw to the overall management. Never resting, the Bhima oversaw the care of the horses, fussing with them by day and watching over them diligently by night. Those horses that wanted to sleep were stirred up and fed. Those that wanted to gallop were caught and placed in the stalls. When the celestial horses saw them, they all behaved most properly, and they were so well cared for that their flanks became swollen with fat. More than half a month soon went by, and on one leisurely morning, the various department ministers gave a banquet to welcome and congratulate him. While they were drinking happily, the Monkey King suddenly put down his cup and asked, "What sort of rank is this ban horse plague of mine?" "The rank and the title are the same," they said, but what ministerial grade is it?" "It does not have a grade," they said. "If it does not have a grade," said the Monkey King, "I suppose it must be the very highest." "Not at all," they replied. "It can only be called the unclassified." The Monkey King said, "What do you mean by the unclassified?" "It is really the meanest level," they said. "This kind of minister is the lowest of the low ranks. Hence, he can only look after horses. Take the case of your honor, who, since your arrival, have been so diligent in discharging your duties. If the horses are fattened, you will only earn yourself a fairly good. If they look at all thin, you will be roundly rebuked. And if they are seriously hurt or wounded, you will be prosecuted and fined." When the Monkey King heard this, fire leapt up from his heart. "So that's the contempt they have for old Monkey," he cried angrily, gnashing his teeth. "At the Flower Fruit Mountain, I was honored as king and patriarch. How dare they trick me into coming to look after horses for them? If horse tending is such a menial service, reserved only for the young and lowly, is such treatment worthy of me? I'm quitting, I'm leaving right now." With a crash, he kicked over his official desk and took the treasure out of his ear. One wave of his hand, and it had the thickness of a rice bowl. Delivering blows in all directions, he fought his way out of the imperial stables and went straight to the South Heaven Gate. The various celestial guardians, knowing that he had been officially appointed a ban horse plague, did not dare stop him and allowed him to fight his way out of the Heaven Gate. In a moment, he lowered the direction of his cloud and returned to the Flower Fruit Mountain. The four mighty commanders were seen drilling troops with the monster kings of various caves. "Little ones," this Monkey King cried in a loud voice, "Old Monkey has returned." The flock of monkeys all came to kowtow and received him into the depths of the cave dwelling. As the Monkey King ascended his throne, they busily prepared a banquet to welcome him. "Receive our congratulations, great king," they said. "Having gone to the region above for more than 10 years, you must be returning in success and glory." "I have been away for only half a month," said the Monkey King. "How can it be more than 10 years?" "Great king," said the various monkeys, "you are not aware of time and season when you are in heaven. One day in heaven above is equal to a year on earth." "May we ask the great king what ministerial appointment he received?" Don't mention that, said the Monkey King, waving his hand. "It embarrasses me to death. That jade emperor does not know how to use talent. Seeing the features of old Monkey, he appointed me to something called the ban horse plague, which actually means taking care of horses for him. It's a job too low even to be classified. I didn't know this when I first assumed my duties, and so I managed to have some fun at the imperial stables. But when I asked my colleagues today, I discovered what a degraded position it was. I was so furious that I knocked over the banquet they were giving me and rejected the title. That's why I came back down." "Welcome back," said the various monkeys. "Welcome back. Our great king can be the sovereign of this blessed cave dwelling with the greatest honor and happiness. Why should he go away to be someone's stable boy?" "Little ones," they cried, "send up the wine quickly and cheer up our great king." I apologize. Pardon me. As they were drinking wine and conversing happily, someone came to report, "Great king, there are 2 one-horned demon kings outside who want to see you." "Show them in," said the Monkey King. The demon kings straightened out their attire, ran into the cave, and prostrated themselves. "Why did you want to see me?" asked the handsome Monkey King. "We have long heard that the great king is receptive to talents," said the demon kings. "But we had no reason to request your audience. Now we learn that our great king has received a divine appointment and has returned in success and glory. We have come, therefore, to present the great king with a red and yellow robe for his celebration. If you are not disdainful of the uncouth and the lowly, and are willing to receive us plebeians, We shall serve you as dogs or as horses." Highly pleased, the Monkey King put on the red and yellow robe, while the rest of them lined up joyfully and did homage. Did homage. He then appointed the Demon Kings to the vanguard commanders, marshals of the forward regiment. After expressing their thanks, the Demon Kings asked again, "Since our great king was in heaven for a long time, may we ask what kind of appointment he received?" "The Jade Emperor belittles the talented," said the Monkey King. "He only made me something called the Ban Horse Plague." Hearing this, the Demon King said again, "Great king has such divine powers. Why should you take care of horses for him? What is there to stop you from assuming the rank of the great sage, equal to heaven?" When the Monkey King heard these words, he could not conceal his delight, shouting repeatedly, "Bravo! Bravo!" "Make me a banner immediately," he ordered the four mighty commanders, "and inscribe on it in large letters, 'The Great Sage, equal to heaven.' Erect a pole to hang it on. From now on, address me only as the Great Sage, equal to heaven, and the title Great King will no longer be permitted. The monster kings of the various caves will also be informed so that it will be known to all. Of this we shall speak no further." We now refer to the Jade Emperor, who held court the next day. The celestial master Zhang was seen leading the deputy and the assistant of the imperial stables to come before the Vermilion courtyard. "Your Majesty," they said, prostrating themselves, "the newly appointed Ban Horse Plague, Sun Wukong, objected to his rank as being too low and left the heavenly palace yesterday in rebellion. Meanwhile, the Devaraja," I'm just going to call it the Devaraja from now on because it's easier to say. It's the same person. "Leading the various celestial guardians from the South Heaven Gate, also made the report. The Ban Horse Plague, for reasons unknown to us, has walked out of the Heaven Gate." When the Jade Emperor heard this, he made the proclamation, "Let the two divine commanders and their followers return to their duties. We shall send forth celestial soldiers to capture this monster. From among the ranks, Devaraja Li," dang it. I guess my plan doesn't work, but Devaraja Li, who is the pagoda bearer, and his third prince Nada came forward and presented their request, saying, "Your Majesty, though your humble subjects are not gifted, we await your authorization to subdue this monster." Delighted, the Jade Emperor appointed pagoda bearer Devaraja Li Jing to be Grand Marshal for subduing the monster, and promoted the third prince Nada to be the great deity in charge of the three-platform assembly of the saints. They were to lead an expeditionary force at once for the region below. Devaraja Li and Nada kowtowed to take leave and went back to their own mansion. After reviewing the troops and their captains and lieutenants, they appointed Mighty Spirit God to be vanward commander, the fish-belly general to bring up the rear, and the general of the Yaxus to urge the troops on. In a moment, they left by the South Heaven Gate and went straight to the Flower Fruit Mountain. A level piece of land was selected for encampment, and the order was then given to the Mighty Spirit God to provoke battle. Having received this order and having buckled and knotted his armor properly, the Mighty Spirit God grasped his spreading flower axe and came to the water curtain cave. There, in front of the cave, he saw a great mob of monsters, all of them wolves, insects, tigers, leopards, and the like. They were all jumping and growling, brandishing their swords and waving their spears. "Damnable beasts," shouted the Mighty Spirit God, "hurry and tell the Ban Horse Plague that I, a great general from heaven, have by authorization of the Jade Emperor come to subdue him. Tell him to come out quickly and surrender, lest all of you be annihilated." Running pell-mell into the cave, those monsters shouted the report, "Disaster! Disaster!" "What sort of disaster?" asked the Monkey King. "There's a celestial warrior outside," said the monsters, "who claims the title of an imperial envoy. He says he came by the holy decree of the Jade Emperor to subdue you, and he orders you to go out quickly and surrender, lest we lose our lives." Hearing this, the Monkey King commanded, "Get my battle dress." He quickly donned his red gold cap, pulled on his yellow gold cuirass, slipped on his cloud-treading shoes, and seized the compliant golden-hooped rod. He led the crowd outside and set them up in battle formation. The mighty spirit god opened wide his eyes and stared at this magnificent monkey king. The gold cuirass worn on his body was brilliant and bright. The gold cap on his head also glistened in the light. In his hands was a staff, the golden hooped rod, that well became the cloud-treading shoes on his feet. His eyes glowed strangely, like burning stars. Hanging past his shoulders were 2 ears, forked and hard. His remarkable body knew many ways of change, and his voice resounded like bells and chimes. This ban-horse plague, with beaked mouth and gaping teeth, aimed high to be the equal to heaven's sage. Lawless ape, the mighty spirit god roared powerfully, do you recognize me? When the great sage heard these words, he asked quickly, what sort of dull-witted deity are you? Old Monkey has yet to meet you. State your name at once. Fraudulent Simeon, cried the mighty spirit. What do you mean you don't recognize me? I am the celestial general of mighty spirit, the vanward commander and subordinate to Devaraja Lee, the pagoda bearer, from the divine Empyrean. I have come by the imperial decree of the Jade Emperor to receive your submission. Strip yourself of your apparel immediately and yield to the heavenly grace, so that this mountain full of creatures can avoid execution. If you dare but utter half a no, you will be reduced to powder in seconds. When the Monkey King heard those words, he was filled with anger. Reckless simpleton, he cried. Stop bragging and wagging your tongue. I would have killed you with one stroke of my rod, but then I would have no one to communicate my message. So I'll spare your life for the moment. Go back to heaven quickly and inform the Jade Emperor that he has no regard for talent. Old Monkey has unlimited abilities. Why did he ask me to mind horses for him? Take a good look at the words on this banner. If I am promoted according to its title, I will lay down my arms, and the cosmos will then be fair and tranquil. But if he does not agree to my demand, I'll fight my way up to the treasure hall of divine mists, and he won't even be able to sit on his dragon throne. When the mighty spirit god heard these words, he opened his eyes wide, facing the wind, and saw indeed a tall pole outside the cave. On the pole hung a banner bearing in large letters the words, the great sage, equal to heaven. The mighty spirit god laughed scornfully 3 times and jeered, lawless ape, how fatuous can you be, and how arrogant? So you want to be the great sage, equal to heaven. Be good enough to take a bit of my axe first. Aiming at his head, he hacked at him, but being a knowledgeable fighter, the Monkey King was not unnerved. He met the blow at once with his golden hooped rod, and this exciting battle was on. The rod was named Compliant. The axe was called Spreading Flower. The two of them, meeting suddenly, did not know their weakness or strength, but axe and rod clashed left and right. One concealed secret powers most wondrous. The other vaunted openly his vigor and might. They used magic, blowing out cloud and puffing up fog. They stretched their hands, splattering mud and spraying sand. The might of the celestial battler had its way, but the monkey had boundless power of change. The rod uplifted, a dragon played in water. The axe arrived, a phoenix sliced through flowers. Mighty spirit, whose name spread through the world, in prowess truly could not match the other one. The great sage whirling lightly his iron staff could numb the body with one blow on the head. The mighty spirit god could oppose him no longer and allowed the Monkey King to aim a mighty blow at his head, which he hastily sought to parry with his axe. With a crack, the axe handle split in two, and mighty spirit turned swiftly to flee for his life. Imbecile, imbecile, laughed the Monkey King. I've already spared you. Go and report my message at once. Back at the camp, the mighty spirit god went straight to see the pagoda bearer, Devaraja. Huffing and puffing, he knelt down, saying, The ban-horse plague indeed has great magic powers. Your unworthy warrior cannot prevail against him. Defeated, I have come to beg your pardon. This fellow has blunted our will to fight, said Devaraja Lee angrily. Take him out and have him executed. From the side came Prince Nada, who said, bowing deeply, Let your anger subside, Father King, and pardon for the moment the guilt of mighty spirit. Permit your child to go into battle once, and we shall know the long and short of the matter. The Devaraja heeded the admonition and ordered Mighty Spirit to go back to his camp and await trial. This Prince Nada, properly armed, leapt from his camp and dashed to the water curtain cave. Wukong was just dismissing his troops when he saw Nada approaching fiercely. Dear Prince. 2 boyish tufts barely cover his skull. His flowing hair has yet to reach the shoulders. A rare mind, alert and intelligent. A noble frame, pure and elegant. He is indeed the unicorn son from heaven above, truly immortal as the phoenix of mist and smoke. This seed of dragon has by nature uncommon features. His tender age shows no relation to any worldly kin. He carries on his body 6 kinds of magic weapons. He flies, he leaps, he can change without restriction. Now, by the golden mouth proclamation of the Jade Emperor, he is appointed to the assembly, its name, the 3 Platforms. Wukong drew near and asked, Whose little brother are you, and what do you want, barging through my gate? Lawless, monstrous monkey, shouted Nada. Don't you recognize me? I am Nada, 3rd son of the pagoda bearer Devaraja. I am under the imperial commission of the Jade Emperor to come and arrest you. Little prince, said Wukong, laughing, your baby teeth haven't even fallen out, and your natal hair is still damp. How dare you talk so big? I'm going to spare your life, and I won't fight you. Just take a look at the words on my banner and report them to the Jade Emperor above. Grant me this title, and you won't need to stir your forces. I will submit on my own. If you don't satisfy my cravings, I will surely fight my way up to the treasure hall of divine mists. Lifting his head to look, Nada saw the words, Great Sage equal to heaven. What great power does this monstrous monkey possess, said Nada, that he dares claim such a title? Fear not, swallow my sword. I'll just stand here quietly, said Wukong, and you can take a few hacks at me with your sword. Young Nada grew angry. Change, he yelled loudly, and he changed at once into a fearsome person, having 3 heads and 6 arms. In his hands he held 6 kinds of weapons, a monster stabbing sword, a monster cleaving scimitar, a monster binding rope, a monster taming club, an embroidered ball, and a fiery wheel. Brandishing these weapons, he mounted a frontal attack. This little brother does know a few tricks, said Wukong, somewhat alarmed by what he saw. But don't be rash. Watch my magic. Dear great sage, he shouted, change, and he too transformed himself into a creature with 3 heads and 6 arms. One wave of the golden hooped rod, and it became 3 staffs, which were held with 6 hands. The conflict was truly earth-shaking, and made the various mountains tremble. What a battle! The 6-armed prince Nada, the heaven-born handsome stone monkey king, meeting, each met his match, and found each to be from the same source. One was consigned to come down to earth, the other in guile disturbed the universe. The edge of the monster-stabbing sword was quick. The keen, monster-cleaving scimitar alarmed demons and gods. The monster-binding rope was like a flying snake. The monster-taming club was like the head of a wolf. The lightning-propelled fiery wheel was like darting flames. Hither and thither the embroidered ball rotated. The 3 compliant rods of the great sage protected the front and guarded the rear with care and skill. A few rounds of bitter contest revealed no victor, but the prince's mind would not so easily rest. He ordered the 6 kinds of weapons to change into hundreds and thousands of millions, aiming for the head. The Monkey King, undaunted, roared with laughter loud, and wielded his iron rod with artful ease. 1 turned to 1,000, and 1,000 turned 10. Let's try that again. 1 turned to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000, filling the sky as a swarm of dancing dragons, and shocked the monster kings of sundry caves into shutting their doors. Demons and monsters all over the mountain hid their heads. The angry breath of divine soldiers was like oppressive clouds. The golden-hooped iron rod whizzed like the wind. On this side, the battle cries of celestial fighters appalled everyone. On that side, the banner waving of monkey monsters startled each person. Grieving Growing fierce, the two parties both willed a test of strength. We know not who was stronger and who weaker. Each displaying his divine powers, the third prince and Wukong battled for 30 rounds. The six weapons of that prince changed into 1,000 and 10,000 pieces. The golden hoop rod of Sun Wukong into 10,000 and 1,000. They clashed like raindrops and meteors in the air, but victory or defeat was not yet determined. Wukong, however, proved to be the one swifter of eye and hand. Right in the midst of the confusion, he plucked a piece of hair and shouted, "Change!" It changed into a copy of him, also wielding a rod in its hands and deceiving Nada. His real person leapt behind Nada and struck his left shoulder with the rod. Nada, still performing his magic, heard the rod whizzing through the air and tried desperately to dodge it. Unable to move quickly enough, he took the bow and fled in pain. Breaking off his magic and gathering up his 6 weapons, he returned to his camp in defeat. Standing in front of his battle line, Devaraja Li saw what was happening and was about to go to his son's assistance. The prince, however, came to him first and gasped, "Father King, the Banhorse Plague is truly powerful. Even your son of such magical strength is no match for him. He has wounded me in the shoulder." "If this fellow is so powerful," said the Devaraja, turning pale with fright, "how can we beat him?" The prince said, "In front of his cave, he has set up a banner bearing the words, 'The Great Sage equal to heaven.' By his own mouth, he boastfully asserted that if the Jade Emperor appointed him to such a title, all troubles would cease. If he were not given this name, he would surely fight his way up to the treasure hall of divine mists." "If that's the case," said the Devaraja, "let's not fight with him for the moment. Let us return to the region above and report these words. There will be time then for us to send for more celestial soldiers and take this fellow on all sides." The prince was in such pain that he could not do battle again. He therefore went back to heaven with the Devaraja to report, of which we speak no further. Look at that monkey king returning to his mountain in triumph. The monster kings of 72 caves and the 6 sworn brothers all came to congratulate him, and they feasted jubilantly in the blessed cave dwelling. He then said to the 6 brothers, "If little brother is now called the Great Sage equal to heaven, why don't all of you assume the title of Great Sage also?" "Our worthy brother's words are right," shouted the bull monster king from their midst. "I'm going to be called the Great Sage parallel with heaven." "I shall be called the Great Sage covering the ocean," said the dragon monster king. "I shall be called the Great Sage united with heaven," said the Garuda monster king. "I shall be called the Great Sage mover of mountains," said the giant lynx king. "I shall be called the telltale Great Sage," said the macaque. Macaque. I'm going to say the macaque king until Legatus or someone advises me otherwise. "And I shall be called the God-routing Great Sage," said the orangutan king. At that moment, the 7 great sages had complete freedom to do as they pleased and to call themselves whatever titles they liked. They had fun for a whole day and then dispersed. Now we return to the Devaraja Li and the 3rd prince, who, leading the other commanders, went straight to the treasure hall of divine mists to give this report. "By your holy decree, your subjects led the expeditionary force down to the region below to subdue the baneful immortal, Sun Wukong. We had no idea of his enormous power, and we could not prevail against him. We beseech your majesty to give us reinforcements to wipe him out." "How powerful can we expect one baneful monkey to be?" asked the Jade Emperor, "that reinforcements are needed." "May your majesty pardon us from an offense worthy of death," said the prince, drawing closer. "That baneful monkey wielded an iron rod. He defeated first the mighty spirit god, and then wounded the shoulder of your subject. Outside the door of his cave, he set up a banner bearing the words, 'The Great Sage equal to heaven.' He said that if he were given such a rank, he would lay down his arms and come to declare his allegiance. If not, he would fight his way up to the treasure hall of divine mists. How dare this baneful monkey be so insolent? Exclaimed the Jade Emperor, astonished by what he had heard. We must order the generals to have him executed at once. As he said this, the gold star of Venus came forward again from the ranks and said, The baneful monkey knows how to make a speech, but he has no idea what's appropriate and what isn't. Even if reinforcements are sent to fight him, I don't think he can be subdued right away without taxing our forces. It would be better if your majesty were greatly to extend your mercy and proclaim yet another decree of pacification. Let him indeed be made the great sage equal to heaven. He will be given an empty title, in short, rank without compensation. What do you mean by rank without compensation? Said the Jade Emperor. The Gold Star said, His name will be Great Sage equal to heaven, but he will not be given any official duty or salary. We shall keep him here in heaven so that we may put his perverse mind at rest and make him desist from his madness and arrogance. The universe will then be calm and the oceans tranquil again. Hearing these words, the Jade Emperor said, We shall follow the counsels of our minister. He ordered the mandate to be made up and the Gold Star to bear it hence. The Gold Star left through the South Heaven Gate once again and headed straight for the Flower Fruit Mountain. Outside the water curtain cave, things were quite different from the way they had been the previous time. He found the entire region filled with the awesome and bellicose presence of every conceivable kind of monster, each one of them clutching swords and spears, wielding scimitars and staffs. Growling and leaping about, they began to attack the Gold Star the moment they saw him. You, chieftains, hear me, said the Gold Star. Let me trouble you to report this to your great sage. I am the heavenly messenger sent by the Lord above, and I bear an imperial decree of invitation. The various monsters ran inside to report. There is an old man outside who says he is a heavenly messenger from the region above, bearing a decree of invitation for you. Welcome, welcome, said Wukong. He must be that Gold Star of Venus who came here last time. Although it was a shabby position they gave me when he invited me up to the region above, I nevertheless made it to heaven once and familiarized myself with the ins and outs of the celestial passages. He has come again this time, undoubtedly, with good intentions. He commanded the various chieftains to wave the banners and beat the drums, and to draw up the troops in receiving order. Leading the rest of the monkeys, the great sage donned his cap and his cuirass, over which he tossed the red and yellow robe, and slipped on the cloud shoes. He ran to the mouth of the cave, bowed courteously, and said in a low voice, Please come in, old star. Forgive me for not coming out to meet you. The Gold Star strode forward and entered the cave. He stood facing south and declared, Now I inform the great sage. Because the great sage has objected to the meanness of his previous appointment and removed himself from the imperial stables, the officials of that department, both great and small, reported the matter to the Jade Emperor. The proclamation of the Jade Emperor said at first, all appointed officials advance from lowly positions to exalted ones. Why should he object to that arrangement? This led to the campaign against you by Deva Raja Li and Nada. They were ignorant of the great sage's power and therefore suffered defeat. They reported back to heaven that you had set up a banner that made known your desire to be the great sage equal to heaven. The various martial officials still wanted to deny your request. It was this old man who, risking offense, pleaded the case of the great sage so that he might be invited to receive a new appointment and without the use of force. The Jade Emperor accepted my suggestion, hence I am here to invite you. I caused you trouble last time, said Wukong, laughing, and now I am again indebted to you for your kindness. Thank you, thank you. But is there really such a rank as the great sage equal to heaven up there? I made certain that this title was approved, said the Gold Star, before I dared come with the decree. If there is any mishap, let this old man be held responsible. I feel like that's a bad decision. Wukong was highly pleased, but the Gold Star refused his earnest invitation to stay for a banquet. He therefore mounted the hallowed cloud with the Gold Star and went to the South Heaven Gate, where they were welcomed by the celestial generals and guardians with hands folded at their breasts. Going straight into the treasure hall of divine mists, the Gold Star prostrated himself and memorialized, Your subject, by your decree, has summoned here Banhorse Plague, son Wukong. Have that son Wukong come forward, said the Jade Emperor. I now proclaim you to be the great sage equal to heaven, a position of the highest rank, but you must indulge no more in your preposterous behavior. Bowing deeply, the monkey uttered a great whoop of thanks. The Jade Emperor then ordered two building officials, Zhang and Lu, to erect the official residence of the great sage equal to heaven, to the right of the garden of immortal peaches. Inside the mansion, 2 departments were established, named Peace and Quiet and Serene Spirit, both of which were full of attending officials. The Jade Emperor also ordered the star spirits of 5 poles to accompany Wukong to assume his post. In addition, 2 bottles of imperial wine and 10 clusters of golden flowers were bestowed on him, with the order that he must keep himself under control and make up his mind to indulge no more in preposterous behavior. The Monkey King obediently accepted the command and went that day with the star spirits to assume his post. He opened the bottles of wine and drank them all with his colleagues. After seeing the star spirits off to their own palaces, he settled down in complete contentment and delight to enjoy the pleasures of heaven without the slightest worry or care. Truly, his name divine, forever recorded in the long life book and kept from falling into samsara, will long be known. We do not know what took place hereafter. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter. Ooh-wee. That is an interestingly long time to be reading out loud. Oh, I went way too far. I do not, Andy. Currently knocking on wood again. Oh God, everybody's talking to Shirley Jackson again. Do you have your characters play a lot of chess because all cat? My crab! I was tricked. I fell for it. Mice lives matter. It's not proving shit. It means he's keeping the vermin from outside and bringing them inside. Okay, that didn't work in my favor. Whatever. I'm not going to eat the mouse. ¿Est-ce que raton? I mean, post cryo sleep, I would agree with that. Pre-cryo sleep, likely not. The way time is in this book is crazy. Yeah, another 10 years just go by. Whatever. Whom is the greater Monkey King? This Monkey King or King Louis from the Jungle Book? I never liked the Jungle Book, so I barely remember it. It's you. All right, Jack. Oh, hey, Clinton. How's it going? It's supposed to be Thursday for serenades. No. I changed it to Wednesdays, somewhat because of football, and the other because my original day for doing this was taken up by a different stream that I would sometimes appear on. That stream is now on Tuesdays, called Wrong Think. So I adjusted or pivoted, if you will allow. Aw, you gave me crayons. Thank you. That's seriously the Macaque King. I sound like, I feel like I'm trying to do a very poor Boston accent. Macaque. Whatever. Clip that as you will, I guess. I feel like, so I think that chapter was, let's see. I think they're all about 15 pages or so. Yeah, exactly 15 pages for that one. Oh, wait, no, 14. I was counting the first of the next chapter. So yeah, it's about the same because I think the chapter before that was 14 pages and then the first chapter was 15. I feel like a lot happened in that chapter compared to the other ones. A lot of activity took place rather than filler type of details. I don't know anyone who would do that, Cliff. No one in my life has ever done that. By the way, I realized like halfway through that chapter, as I do, I tend to forget to advise you. There's a link pinned to the top of chat. You all know and are aware. If anyone feels like tipping, but there's absolutely no obligation, and I need to move my screens back whatsoever. So appreciated if anyone tips anything. But mostly, I just appreciate everybody being here. So you guys are awesome. I might drink a few more sips of tea before I shut up, Cliff. You're ridiculous. You're never going to let me live that down. Let's see. This chapter is technically 13 pages, so it'll be a little bit shorter. Don't encourage him, Jack. They want to fight him, but they realize he's too powerful. Yes. In a nutshell, that is what took place. So they gave him a BS rank, according to him, and he departed, decided that he was just going to name himself something equal to heaven because reasons, and he's a smug bastard. So heaven didn't like that, sent down some people that are pretty powerful. He defeated the two people that faced him one-on-one, and they tucked their tails between their legs and ran home. So, to avoid further altercation, the Gold Star of Venus, some of these names, is the best at calming the Jade Emperor down, and in so doing, negotiating enough to calm Sun Wukong down and pacify both sides. So now he has another useless rank that sounds like it's something better than it is when it was just made up to appease him. And I have a feeling in this next chapter, he's going to stumble across the truth and get pissed off. And my theory is the Gold Star of Venus said to hold him accountable if he runs into any issues. So that's not going to really be in the Gold Star of Venus's favor, in my eyes. That's at least what my assumption is for the next chapter. And I feel like if I don't drink a little bit more of this tea before I start reading again, I might lose my voice. So yeah. It's always fun to go in between different books. Okay, sometimes it's fun. Sorry, my eye really itches. Sometimes it's fun to go in between these different books, not really knowing how they're set up. So it's less fun with the last book because Shirley Jackson sucks and doesn't know how to write books properly with proper chapters. And then we come to this one where they're proper chapters, all right. Proper long. I guess that'd be properly long. Oh, and for those that came in later and may not have seen my lovely, I don't think anybody answered. Do you know what this is from? This is actually from a set of that movie themed mugs. Of course you know. Well done, sir. I'm pretty sure no one else said it earlier. Obviously, the lurkers probably knew and just didn't say anything. Talking about two different style of books. Yes, this is definitely night and day comparison between the two books. And John Carter was a happy little balance, really. You want food since you didn't want to kill your freaking mouse? All right. Let's see. It is interesting with the translation. Jupiter and Venus would not be part of Chinese vocab tradition, so clearly we are getting a best match. Yeah, I was thinking that with a lot of the different names and such, that some of the translations are as best described in English. Ha, you're so funny. But no, it was actually from my counter because it was more of a display mug recently. And it was in a windowsill. So wrong. Smart ass. All right, I'll be right back. Same with the bit where the guards are described as having swords and scimitars, which is sort of like saying food and cake. Technically speaking, yeah. Although I have a vague idea of what scimitars look like because I don't have a traditional inner monologue and can't really visualize things. Scimitar. I'm going to look it up. Not at all what I was thinking. Noted. But it's like a... Is that like a Hindu sword? Indian sword, maybe? Persian origin that features a curved blade. So it's Persian. Noted. What was I thinking of? I was thinking of like it's like a staff that has a blade at the end. What are those called? Really not like a weapons expert here. Clearly. And you're painting 28mm Aztecs because you're cool enough to paint. ¿Por qué no? Why aren't you cool enough? Or do you just not want to? Or you don't have Warhammers? Then I remembered someone randomly gave me a cup with that same phrase. I'm sorry. Are you telling me that you've never seen Tombstone? If that is the case, Dom, I don't know if we can be friends until that slight against me is corrected. Naganada. Okay, let me see. Sounds like it could be. I think so. Oh, Lord. So this thing, this one, God dang it. This one here. Yeah, pretty sure that's what I was thinking of. So like some of them are not quite what I was thinking of, but yeah, that's definitely more. I was picturing something roundabout here that's kind of like feathers or something, where the staff meets the, I guess, is that considered the hilt? The staff portion of it? Either way, yes, close enough to what I was thinking. Thank you. Middle East, Wood Star, Jupiter, Jupiter and star. Jack is always able to figure out the things. Actually, all of you are. You're all smarter than me, so I'm glad you're here to help translate things. Curved sword best suited for slashing, normally single-edged. Pole arm! That is very likely what my head was going for. At least it's a term I recognize from, do y'all know who Tyrant is? If you don't, you should go to the Screen Tested channel. Images. Yeah, pole arm. But he normally works with like Shadiversity and stuff, but he has his own channel, and I like watching him make like pop culture weapons. It's really fun and cool. I learned a lot from all of you because you're all kind of cool. I am a Marine, and do you know what Marines are? First and foremost, riflemen. So, sorry to burst that bubble. Vegetable Rule 34 book. I don't understand what you're saying. Vegeta, I still don't understand after vegetable. So vegetable, I knew what you meant. Lord knows why, beyond the fact that, of course, Vegeta, but polearm, medieval Europe. Yeah, that makes sense. We all have our specialties. Mine is correcting grammar, such as YOU''RE. And also it would be I and not me in that sentence. Pole arms are any weapon that's basically a pole with a pointy metal bit on the end. Right. It's kind of like a all-encompassing term for those type of weapons, right? So like a naginata would be under that umbrella. Oh, God, why does that always Yes, I do know Rule 34 or R34, but the thing is, you didn't say rule in front of it, I don't think. Yeah, yes, you did. Dang it. Why? Why am I so bad at this? Good Lord. Ay. Okay, Vegeta. I don't have any of those. Thank you very much. Did that on purpose to see if you. Yeah, sure. Sure, you did. You were not. No way. You have to tell me for real. I'm not going to look that up, Sam. Fully tracked. I don't know what that means. All right. For those not military read up, the ASVAB, I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but the last letter, the B, is battery, which means like a test. I actually took the ASVAB, but I also took the D-Lab, which is the Defense Language Aptitude Battery. So if I had spoken a language fluently, I would have went into cryptolinguistics. That was my first choice, but I didn't know you had to speak a language other than English fluently. That's at least what my recruiter said. So I went into communications instead. But the ASCAB waiver is for the lowly marine types, the grunt types, who get in even though their ASVAB is quite low scoring. But I don't believe Cliff. I rarely believe Cliff. The fun thing with a lot of historical weapon terms is when you translate them literally into English, they just mean sword. Yeah, that's valid.
Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
If you did not hear my brother, it is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. Thank you, Broha. Anyway, let's move on. To Chapter 5. Disrupting the Peach Festival, the great sage steals elixir. With revolt in heaven, many gods would seize the fiend. Now we must tell you that the great sage, after all, was a monkey monster. In truth, he had no knowledge of his title or rank, nor did he care for the size of his salary. He did nothing but place his name on the register. At his official residence, he was cared for night and day by the attending officials of the two departments. His sole concern was to eat 3 meals a day and to sleep soundly at night. Having neither duties nor worries, he was free and content to tour the mansions and meet friends, to make new acquaintances and form new alliances at his leisure. When he met the 3 pure ones, he addressed them as Your Reverence, and when he ran into the 4 thearchs, he would say Your Majesty. As for the 9 luminaries, the generals of the 5 quarters, the 28 constellations, the 4 Devarajas, the 12 horary branches, the 5 elders of the 5 regions, the star spirits of the entire heaven, and the numerous gods of the Milky Way, he called them all brother and treated them in a fraternal manner. Today he toured the east, and tomorrow he wandered the west. Going and coming on the clouds, he had no specific itinerary. Early one morning, when the Jade Emperor was holding court, the Taoist immortal Zhu Xingyang stepped from the ranks and went forward to memorialize, kowtowing. The great sage, equal to heaven, has no duties at present and merely dawdles away his time. He has become quite chummy with the various stars and constellations of heaven, calling them his friends regardless of whether they are his superiors or subordinates, and I fear that his idleness may lead to roguery. Roguery? It would be better to give him some assignment so that he will not grow mischievous. When the Jade Emperor heard these words, he sent for the Monkey King at once, who came amiably. "Your Majesty," he said, "what promotion or reward did you have in mind for old Monkey when you called him?" "We perceive," said the Jade Emperor, "that your life is quite indolent, since you have nothing to do, and we have decided therefore to give you an assignment. You will temporarily take care of the Garden of Immortal Peaches. Be careful and diligent morning and evening." Delighted, the great sage bowed deeply and grunted his gratitude as he withdrew. He could not restrain himself from rushing immediately into the Garden of Immortal Peaches to inspect the place. A local spirit from the garden stopped him and asked, "Where is the great sage going?" "I have been authorized by the Jade Emperor," said the great sage, "to look after the Garden of Immortal Peaches. I have come to conduct an inspection." The local spirit hurriedly saluted him and then called together all the stewards in charge of hoeing, watering, tending peaches, and cleaning and sweeping. They all came to kowtow to the great sage and led him inside. There he saw radiantly young and lovely on every trunk and limb, radiantly young and lovely blossoms filling the trees, and fruits on every trunk and limb weighing down the stems. The fruits, weighing down the stems, hang like balls of gilt. The blossoms filling the trees form tufts of rouge. Ever they bloom, and ever fruit-bearing, they ripen in 1,000 years. Not knowing winter or summer, they lengthen out to 10,000 years. Those that first ripen glow like faces reddened with wine, while those half-grown ones are stalk-held and green-skinned. Encased in smoke, their flesh retains their green, but sunlight reveals their cinnabar grace. Beneath the trees are rare flowers and exotic grass, which colors unfading in 4 seasons remain the same. The towers, the terraces, and the studios left and right rise so high into the air that often cloud covers are seen. Not planted by the vulgar or the worldly of the dark city, they are grown and tended by the queen mother of the jade pool. The great sage enjoyed this sight for a long time and then asked the local spirit, "How many trees are there?" "There are 3,600, said the local spirit. "In the front are 1,200 trees with little flowers and small fruits. These ripen once every 3,000 years. And after one taste of them, a man will become an immortal enlightened in the way, with healthy limbs and a lightweight body. In the middle are 1,200 trees of layered fruits and sweet fruits. They ripen once every 6,000 years. If a man eats them, he will ascend to heaven with the mist and never grow old. At the back are 1,200 trees with fruits of purple veins and pale yellow pits. These ripen once every 9,000 years, and if eaten, will make a man's age equal to that of heaven and earth, the sun and the moon." Highly pleased by these words, the great sage that very day made thorough inspection of the trees and a listing of the arbors and pavilions before returning to his residence. From then on, he would go there to enjoy the scenery once every 3 or 4 days. He no longer consorted with his friends, nor did he take any more trips. See, he just needs direction and becomes a better person. One day, he saw that more than half of the peaches on the branches of the older trees had ripened, and he wanted very much to eat one and sample its novel taste. Closely followed, however, by the local spirit of the garden, the stewards, and the divine attendants of the equal to heaven residents, he found it inconvenient to do so. He therefore devised a plan on the spur of the moment and said to them, "Why don't you all wait for me outside and let me rest a while in this arbor?" The various immortals withdrew accordingly. That Monkey King then took off his cap and robe and climbed up onto a big tree. He selected the large peaches that were thoroughly ripened and, plucking many of them, ate to his heart's content right on the branches. Only after he had his fill did he jump down from the tree. Pinning back his cap and donning his robe, he called for his train of followers to return to the residence. After 2 or 3 days, he used the same device to steal peaches to gratify himself once again. And quickly, I eat my words. Pun somewhat intended. One day, the Lady Queen Mother decided to open wide her treasure chamber and to give a banquet for the grand festival of immortal peaches, which was to be held in the palace of the Jasper Pool. She ordered the various immortal maidens, red gown, blue gown, white gown, black gown, purple gown, yellow gown, and green gown, to go with their flower baskets to the Garden of Immortal Peaches and pick the fruits for the festival. The 7 maidens went to the gate of the garden and found it guarded by the local spirit, the stewards, and the ministers from the 2 departments of the Equal to Heaven residence. The girls approached them, saying, "We have been ordered by the Queen Mother to pick some peaches for our banquet." "Divine maidens," said the local spirit, "please wait a moment. This year is not quite the same as last year. The Jade Emperor has put in charge here the great sage, Equal to Heaven, and we must report to him before we are allowed to open the gate." "Where is the great sage?" asked the maidens. "He is in the garden," said the local spirit. "Because he is tired, he is sleeping alone in the arbor." "If that's the case," said the maidens, "let us go and find him, for we cannot be late." The local spirit went into the garden with them. They found their way to the arbor, but saw no one. Only the cap and the robe were left in the arbor, but there was no person to be seen. The great sage, you see, had played for a while and eaten a number of peaches. He had then changed himself into a figure only 2 inches high, and perching on the branch of a large tree, had fallen asleep under the cover of thick leaves. "Since we came by imperial decree," said the 7 gown immortal maidens, "how can we return empty-handed, even though we cannot locate the great sage?" One of the divine officials said from the side, "Since the divine maidens have come by decree, they should wait no longer. Our great sage has a habit of wandering off somewhere, and he must have left the garden to meet his friends. Go and pick your peaches now, and we shall report the matter for you." The immortal maidens followed his suggestion and went into the grove to pick their peaches. They gathered 2 baskets full from the trees in front and filled 3 more baskets from the trees in the middle. When they went to the trees at the back of the grove, they found that the flowers were sparse and the fruits scanty. Only a few peaches with hairy stems and green skins were left, for the fact that the Monkey King had eaten all the ripe ones. Looking this way and that, the 7 immortal maidens found a branch pointing southward, one single peach that was half white and half red. The blue gown maiden pulled the branch down with her hand, and the red gown maiden, after plucking the fruit, let the branch snap back up into its position. This was the very branch on which the transformed great sage was sleeping. Startled by her, the great sage revealed his true form and whipped out from his ear the golden hooped rod. One wave, and it had the thickness of a rice bowl. "From what region have you come, monsters," he cried, "that you have the gall to steal my peaches?" Terrified, the 7 immortal maidens knelt down together and pleaded, "Let the great sage calm himself. We are not monsters, but the 7 gown immortal maidens sent by the Lady Queen Mother to pluck the fruits needed for the grand festival of immortal peaches, when the treasure chamber is opened wide. We just came here and first saw the local spirit of the garden, who could not find the great sage. Fearing that we might be delayed in fulfilling the command of the Queen Mother, we did not wait for the great sage, but proceeded to pluck the peaches. We beg you to forgive us." When the great sage heard these words, his anger changed to delight. "Please arise, divine maidens," he said. "Who is invited to the banquet when the Queen Mother opens wide her treasure chamber?" "The last festival had its own set of rules," said the immortal maidens, "and those invited were the Buddha, the Bodhisattvas, the holy monks, and the arhats of the western heaven, Kuan Yin from the South Pole, the holy emperor of great mercy of the east, the immortals of 10 continents and 3 islands, the dark spirit of the North Pole, the great immortal of the yellow horn from the imperial center. These were the elders from the 5 quarters. In addition, there were the star spirits of the 5 poles, the 3 pure ones, the 4 Deva kings, the heavenly Deva of the great monad, and the rest from the upper 8 caves. From the middle 8 caves, there were the Jade Emperor, the 9 heroes, the immortals of the seas and mountains, and from the lower 8 caves, there were the Pope of Darkness and the terrestrial immortals. The gods and devas, both great and small, of every palace and mansion, will be attending this happy festival of the immortal peaches. "Am I invited?" asked the great sage, laughing. "We haven't heard your name mentioned," said the immortal maidens. "I am the great sage, Equal to Heaven," said the great sage. "Why shouldn't I, old monkey, be made an honored guest at the party?" "Well, we told you the rule for the last festival," said the immortal maidens, "but we do not know what will happen this time." "You are right," said the great sage, "and I don't blame you. You all just stand here and let old monkey go and do a little detection to find out whether he's invited or not." "Dear great sage, He made a magic sign and recited a spell, saying to the various immortal maidens, "Stay, stay, stay." This was the magic of immobilization, the effect of which was that the 7-gown immortal maidens all stood wide-eyed and transfixed beneath the peach trees. Leaping out of the garden, the great sage mounted his hallowed cloud and headed straight for the jasper pool. As he journeyed, he saw over there a sky full of holy mist with sparkling light, and 5-colored clouds passing ceaselessly. The cries of white cranes pierced the ninefold heaven. Purple fungi bloomed through 1,000 leaves. Right in this midst an immortal appeared, with a natural fair face and manner distinct. His spirit glowed like a dancing rainbow. A list of no birth or death hung from his waist. His name, the great immortal of naked feet. Attending the peaches feast, he'd lengthen his age. The great immortal of naked feet ran right into the great sage, who, his head bowed, was just devising a plan to deceive the real immortal. Since he wanted to go in secret to the festival, he asked, "Where is the venerable wisdom going?" The great immortal said, "On the kind invitation of the Queen Mother, I am going to the happy festival of immortal peaches." "The venerable wisdom has not yet learned of what I'm about to say," said the great sage. "Because of the speed of my cloud somersault, the Jade Emperor has sent Old Monkey out to all 5 thoroughfares to invite people to go first to the Hall of Perfect Light for a rehearsal of ceremonies before attending the banquet." Being a sincere and honest man, the great immortal took the lie for the truth, though he protested. "In years past, we rehearsed right at the Jasper Pool and expressed our gratitude there. Why do we have to go to the Hall of Perfect Light for rehearsal this time before attending the banquet?" Nonetheless, he had no choice but to change the direction of his hallowed cloud and go straight to the hall. Treading the cloud, the great sage recited a spell, and with one shake of his body, changed into the form of the great immortal of naked feet. It did not take him very long before he reached the treasure chamber. He stopped his cloud and walked softly inside. There he found swirling waves of ambrosial fragrance, dense layers of holy mist, a jade terrace decked with ornaments, a chamber full of the life force, ethereal shapes of the phoenix soaring and the Argus rising, and undulant forms of gold blossoms with stems of jade. Set upon there were the screen of 9 phoenixes in twilight, the beacon mound of 8 treasures and purple mist, a table inlaid with 5-colored gold, and a green jade pot of 1,000 flowers. On the tables were dragon livers and phoenix marrow, bear paws, and the lips of apes. Most tempting was every one of the 100 delicacies, and most succulent the hue of every kind of fruit and food. Everything was laid out in an orderly fashion, but no deity had yet arrived for the feast. Our great sage could not make an end of staring at the scene when he suddenly felt the overpowering aroma of wine. Turning his head, he saw, in the long corridor to the right, several wine-making divine officials and grain-mashing stewards. They were giving directions to the few Taoist charges with carrying water and the boys who took care of the fire in washing out the barrels and scrubbing the jugs, for they had already finished making the wine, rich and mellow as the juices of jade. The great sage could not prevent the saliva from dripping out of the corner of his mouth, and he wanted to have a taste at once, except the people were all standing there. He therefore resorted to magic. Plucking a few hairs, he threw them into his mouth and chewed them to pieces before spitting them out. He recited a spell and cried, "Change." They changed into many sleep-inducing insects, which landed on the people's faces. Look at them, how their hands grow weak, their heads droop, and their eyelids sink down. They dropped their activities and all fell sound asleep. The great sage then took some of the rare delicacies and choicest dainties and ran into the corridor. Standing beside the jars and leaning on the barrels, he abandoned himself to drinking. After feasting for a long time, he became thoroughly drunk, but he turned this over in his mind. Bad, bad. In a little while, when the invited guests arrive, won't they be indignant with me? What will happen to me once I'm caught? I'd better go back home now and sleep it off. Dear great sage. Reeling from side to side, he stumbled along solely on the strength of wine, and in a moment he lost his way. It was not the equal to heaven residence that he went to, but the Tashida Palace. The moment he saw it, he realized his mistake. The Tushita Palace is the uppermost of the 33 heavens. He said, the griefless heaven, which is the home of the Most High Laozi. How did I get here? No matter. I've always wanted to see this old man, but have never found the opportunity. Now that it's on my way, I might as well pay him a visit. He straightened out his attire and pushed his way in, but Laoji was nowhere to be seen. In fact, there was not a trace of anyone. The fact of the matter was that Laoji, accompanied by the aged Buddha Deepamkara, was giving a lecture on the tall, 3-storied red mound elixir platform. The various divine youths, commanders, and officials were all attending the lectures, standing on both sides of the platform. Searching around, our great sage went all the way to the alchemical room. He found no one, but saw fire burning in an oven beside the hearth, and around the oven were 5 gourds in which finished elixir was stored. This thing is the greatest treasure of immortals, said the great sage happily. Since Old Monkey has understood the way and comprehended the mystery of the internal's identity with the external, I have also wanted to produce some golden elixir on my own to benefit people. While I have been too busy at other times even to think about going home to enjoy myself, good fortune has met me at the door today and presented me with this. As long as Laoji is not around, I'll take a few tablets and try the taste of something new. He poured out the contents of all the gourds and ate them like fried beans. In a moment, the effect of the elixir had dispelled that of the wine, and he again thought to himself, bad, bad. I've brought myself on calamity greater than the heaven. If the Jade Emperor has knowledge of this, it'll be difficult to preserve my life. Go, go, go. I'll go back to the region below to be a king. He ran out of the Tushita Palace and, avoiding the former way, left by the West Heaven Gate, making himself invisible by the magic of body concealment. Lowering the direction of his cloud, he returned to the Flower Fruit Mountain. There he was greeted by flashing banners and shining spears, for the 4 mighty commanders and the monster kings of 72 caves were engaging in a military exercise. Little ones, the great sage called out loudly, I have returned. The monsters dropped their weapons and knelt down, saying, Great sage, what laxity of mind! You left us for so long and did not even once visit us to see how we were doing. It's not that long, said the great sage. It's not that long. They walked as they talked and went deep inside the cave dwelling. After sweeping the place clean and preparing a place for him to rest, and after kowtowing and doing homage, the 4 mighty commanders said, The great sage has been living for over a century in heaven. May we ask what appointment he actually received? I recall that it's been but half a year, said the great sage, laughing. How can you talk of... Okay, let's start that over. I recall that it's been but half a year, said the great sage, laughing. How can you talk of a century? 1 day in heaven, said the commanders, is equal to 1 year on earth. The great sage said, I am going to say that the Jade Emperor this time was more favorably disposed toward me, and he did indeed appoint me great sage equal to heaven. An official residence was built for me, and 2 departments, peace and quiet and serene spirit, were established, with bodyguards and attendants in each department. Later, when it was found that I carried no responsibility, I was asked to take care of the Garden of Immortal Peaches. Recently, the Lady Queen Mother gave the Grand Festival of Immortal Peaches, but she did not invite me. Without waiting for her invitation, I went first to the Jasper Pool and secretly consumed the food and wine. Leaving that place, I staggered into the palace of Laoji and finished up all the elixir stored in 5 gourds. I was afraid that the Jade Emperor would be offended, and so I decided to walk out of the Heaven Gate. The various monsters were delighted by these words, and they prepared a banquet of fruits and wine to welcome him. A stone bowl was filled with coconut wine and presented to the great sage, who took a mouthful and then exclaimed with a grimace, It tastes awful, just awful. The great sage, said Bang and Ba, the 2 commanders, has grown accustomed to tasting divine wine and food in heaven. Small wonder that coconut wine now seems hardly delectable. But the proverb says, tasty or not, it's water from home. And all of you are, related or not, people from home, said the great sage. When I was enjoying myself this morning at the Jasper Pool, I saw many jars and jugs in the corridor full of the juices of jade, which you have never savored. Let me go back and steal a few bottles to bring down here. Just drink half a cup, and each one of you will live long without growing old. The various monkeys could not contain their delight. The great sage immediately left the cave and with one somersault went directly back to the Festival of Immortal Peaches, again using the magic of body concealment. As he entered the doorway of the palace of the Jasper Pool, he saw that the winemakers, the grain mashers, the water carriers, and the fire tenders were still asleep and snoring. He took 2 large bottles, one under each arm, and carried 2 more in his hands. Reversing the direction of his cloud, he returned to the monkeys in the cave. They held their own festival of immortal wine, with each one drinking a few cups, which incident we shall relate no further. Now we tell you about the 7 gowned immortal maidens, who did not find a release from the great sage's magic of immobilization until a whole day had gone by. Each one of them then took her flower basket and reported to the Queen Mother, saying, "We are delayed because the great sage, equal to heaven, imprisoned us with his magic." "How many baskets of immortal peaches have you gathered?" asked the Queen Mother. "Only 2 baskets of small peaches and 3 of medium-sized peaches," said the immortal maidens. "For when we went back to the grove, there was not even half a large one left. We think the great sage must have eaten them all. As we went looking for him, he unexpectedly made his appearance and threatened us with violence and beating. He also questioned us about who had been invited to the banquet, and we gave him a thorough account of the last festival. It was then that he bound us with a spell, and we didn't know where he went. It was only a moment ago that we found release and so could come back here." When the Queen Mother heard these words, she went immediately to the Jade Emperor and presented him with a full account of what had taken place. Before she finished speaking, the group of winemakers, together with the various divine officials, also came to report. "Someone unknown to us has vandalized the Festival of Immortal Peaches. The juice of jade, the 8 dainties, and the 100 delicacies have all been stolen or eaten up." 4 royal preceptors then came up to announce, "The Supreme Patriarch of Tao has arrived." The Jade Emperor went out with the Queen Mother to greet him. Having paid his respects to them, Laoji said, "There are in the house of this old Taoist some finished golden elixir of 9 turns, which are reserved for the use of your majesty during the next grand festival of Cinnabar. Strange to say, they have been stolen by some thief, and I have come specifically to make this known to your majesty." This report stunned the Jade Emperor. Presently, the officials from the Equal to Heaven residence came to announce, kowtowing, The great sage's son has not been discharging his duties of late. He went out yesterday and still has not yet returned. Moreover, we do not know where he went." These words gave the Jade Emperor added anxiety. Next came the great immortal of naked feet, who prostrated himself and said, "Yesterday, in response to the Queen Mother's invitation, your subject was on his way to attend the festival. When he met by chance the great sage, equal to heaven. The sage said to your subject that your majesty had ordered him to send your subject first to the hall of perfect light for a rehearsal of ceremonies before attending the banquet. Your subject followed his direction and duly went to the hall, but I did not see the dragon chariot and the phoenix carriage of your majesty, and therefore hastened to come here to wait upon you." More astounded than ever, the Jade Emperor said, "This fellow now falsifies imperial decrees and deceives my worthy ministers. Let the divine minister of detection quickly locate his whereabouts." The minister received his order and left the palace to make a thorough investigation. After obtaining all the details, he returned presently to report, "The person who has so profoundly disturbed heaven is none other than the great sage, equal to heaven." He then gave a repeated account of all the previous incidents, and the Jade Emperor was furious. He at once commanded the 4 great Devarajas to assist Devaraja Li and Prince Nada. Together, they called up the 28 constellations, the 9 luminaries, the 12 horary branches, the fearless guards of 5 quarters, the 4 temporal gardens, the stars of east and west, the gods of north and south, the deities of the 5 mountains and the 4 rivers, the star spirits of the entire heaven, and 100,000 celestial soldiers. They were ordered to set up 18 sets of cosmic net, to journey to the region below, to encircle completely the flower fruit mountain, and to capture the rogue and bring him to justice. All the deities immediately alerted their troops and departed from the heavenly palace. As they left, this was the spectacle of the expedition. Yellow with dust, the churning wind concealed the darkening sky. Reddish with clay, the rising fog o'erlaid the dusky world. Because an impish monkey insulted the highest lord, the saints of all heaven descended to this mortal earth. Those four great Deva Rajas, those fearless guards of 5 quarters, those 4 great Deva kings made up the main command. Those fearless guards of 5 quarters moved countless troops. Li, the pagoda bear, gave orders from the army's center, with the fierce Nada as the captain of his vanward forces. The star of Rahu at the forefront made the roll call. The star of Ketu, noble and tall, brought up the rear. Soma, the moon, displayed a spirit most eager. Aditya, the sun, was all shining and radiant. Heroes of special talents were the stars of 5 phases. The 9 luminaries most relished a good battle. The horary branches of Zi, Wu, Mao, and Yao, they were all celestial guardians of titanic strength. To the east and west, the 5 plagues and the 5 mountains. To the left and right, the 6 gods of darkness and the 6 gods of light. Above and below, the dragon gods of the 4 rivers. And in tightest formation, the 28 constellations. Citra, Svati, Visakha, and Anuradha were the captains. Revati, Asvini, Apabarani, and Krita knew combat well. Uttara, Asara, Abhijit, Sravana, Sravishta, Purva, Prostapada, Uttara, Prostapada. Rohini, Mula Bharani, Purva, Ashara, everyone an able star. That was a struggle. Punaravasu, Tisya, Aslesa, Mega, Purva, Palguni, Uttara, Falguni, and Hasta. All brandished swords and spears to show their power. Stopping the cloud and lowering the mist, they came to this mortal world and pitched their tents before the mountain of flower and fruit. The poem says, the heaven-born monkey king who can change a lot steals wine and elixir to joy in his mountain lair. Since he spoiled the feast of the immortal peach, 100,000 heaven troops spread the net of God. Devaraja Li now gave the order for the celestial soldiers to pitch their tents, and a cordon was drawn so tightly around the flower fruit mountain that not even water could escape. Moreover, 18 sets of cosmic net were spread out above and below the region, and the 9 luminaries were then ordered to go into battle. They led their troops and advanced to the cave, in front of which they found a troop of monkeys, both great and small, prancing about playfully. Little monsters over there, cried one of the star spirits in a severe voice. Where is your great sage? We are heavenly deities sent here from the region above to subdue your rebellious great sage. Tell him to come here quickly and surrender. If he but utters half a no, all of you will be executed. Hastily, the little monsters reported inside. Great sage, disaster, disaster. Outside, there are 9 savage deities who claim that they are sent from the region above to subdue the great sage. Our great sage was just sharing the heavenly wine with the 4 mighty commanders and the monster kings of 72 caves. Hearing this announcement, he said in a most nonchalant manner, if you have wine today, get drunk today. Mind not the troubles in front of your door. Scarcely had he uttered this proverb when another group of imps came leaping and said, those 9 savage gods are trying to provoke battle with foul words and nasty language. Don't listen to them, said the great sage, laughing. Let us seek today's pleasure in poetry and wine, and cease asking when we may achieve glory or fame. Hardly had he finished speaking when still another flock of imps arrived to report, Father, those 9 savage gods have broken down the door and are about to fight their way in. These reckless, witless gods, said the great sage angrily. They really have no manners. That's porridge. I was not about to quarrel with them. Why are they abusing me to my face? He gave the order of the one-horned demon king to lead the monster kings of 72 caves to battle, adding that old monkey and the 4 mighty commanders would follow in the rear. The demon king swiftly led his troops of ogres to go out to fight, but they were ambushed by the 9 luminaries and pinned down right at the head of the sheet iron bridge. At the height of the melee, the great sage arrived. "Make way," he yelled, whipping out his iron rod. One wave of it, and it was as thick as a rice bowl and about 12 feet long. The great sage plunged into battle, and none of the 9 luminaries dared oppose him. In a moment, they were all beaten back. When they regrouped themselves again in battle formation, the 9 luminaries stood still and said, "You senseless ban-horse plague, you are guilty of the 10 evils. You first stole peaches and then wine, utterly disrupting the grand festival of immortal peaches. You also robbed Lauji of his immortal elixir, and then you had the gall to plunder the imperial winery for your personal enjoyment. Don't you realize that you have piled up sin upon sin?" "Indeed," said the great sage, "these several incidents did occur, but what do you intend to do now?" The 9 luminaries said, "We received the golden decree of the Jade Emperor to lead our troops here to subdue you. Submit at once and spare these creatures from being slaughtered. If not, we shall level this mountain and overturn this cave." "How great is your magical power, silly gods," retorted the great sage angrily, "that you dare to mouth such foolhardy words? Don't go away. Have a taste of old monkey's rod." The 9 luminaries mounted a joint attack, but the handsome Monkey King was not in the least intimidated. He wielded his golden hooped rod, parrying left and right, and fought the 9 luminaries until they were thoroughly exhausted. Every one of them turned around and fled, his weapons trailing behind him. Running into the tent at the center of their army, they said to the pagoda bear Devaraja, "That Monkey King is indeed an intrepid warrior. We cannot withstand him and have returned defeated." Devaraja Lee then ordered the 4 great Devarajas and the 28 constellations to go out together to do battle. Without displaying the slightest panic, the great sage also ordered the one-horned demon king, the monster kings of 72 caves, and the 4 mighty commanders to range themselves in battle formation in front of the cave. Look at this all-out battle. It was truly terrifying, with the cold, soughing wind, the dark, dreadful fog. On one side, the colorful banners fluttered. On the other, lances and halberds glimmered. There were row upon row of shining helmets and coat upon coat of gleaming armor. Row upon row of helmets shining in the sunlight resembled silver bells whose chimes echoed in the sky. Coat upon coat of gleaming armor rising cliff-like in layers seemed like glaciers crushing the earth. The giant scimitars flew and flashed like lightning. The mulberry white spears could pierce even mist and cloud. The cross-like halberds and tiger eye lashes were arranged like thick rows of hemp. The green swords of bronze and 4-sided shovels crowded together like trees in a dense forest. Curved bows, crossbows, and stout arrows with eagle plumes, short staffs and snake-like lances, all could kill or maim. That compliant rod, which the great sage owned, kept tossing and turning in this battle with gods. They fought till the air was rid of birds flying by. Wolves and tigers were driven from within the mount. The planet was darkened by hurtling rocks and stones, and the cosmos bedimmed by flying dust and dirt. The clamor and clangor disturbed heaven and earth. The scrap and scuffle alarmed both demons and gods. Beginning with the battle formation at dawn, they fought until the sun sank down behind the western hills. The one-horned demon king and the monster kings of 72 caves were all taken captive by the forces of heaven. Those who escaped were the 4 mighty commanders and the troop of monkeys who hid themselves deep inside the water curtain cave. With his single rod, the great sage withstood in midair the 4 great Devarajas, Lee the pagoda bear, and Prince Nada, and battled with them for a long time. When he saw that evening was approaching, the great sage plucked a handful of hairs, threw them into his mouth, and chewed them to pieces. He spat them out, crying, "Change." They changed at once into many thousands of great sages, each employing a golden hooped rod. They beat back Prince Nada and defeated the 5 Devarajas. In triumph, the the great sage collected back his hairs and hurried back to his cave. Soon as at the head of the sheet iron bridge, he was met by the four mighty commanders leading the rest of the monkeys as they kowtowed to receive him. They cried 3 times, sobbing aloud, and then they laughed 3 times, hee-heeing and ho-hoing. The great sage said, "Why do you all laugh and cry when you see me?" "When we fought with the Deva kings this morning," said the 4 mighty commanders, "the monster kings of 72 caves and the one-horned demon king were all taken captive by the gods. We were the only ones who managed to escape alive, and that is why we cried. Now we see that the great sage has returned unharmed and triumphant, and so we laugh as well." "Victory and defeat," said the great sage, "are the common experiences of a soldier. The ancient proverb says, 'You may kill 10,000 of your enemies, but you will lose 3,000 of your allies.' Moreover, those chieftains who have been captured are tigers and leopards, wolves and insects, badgers and foxes, and the like. Not a single member of our own kind has been hurt. Why then should we be disconsolate? Although our adversaries have been beaten back by magic of body division, they are still encamped at the foot of our mountain. Let us be most vigilant, therefore, in our defense. Have a good meal, rest well, and conserve your energy. When morning comes, watch me perform a great magic and capture some of these generals from heaven, so that our comrades may be avenged." The 4 mighty commanders drank a few bowls of coconut wine with the host of monkeys and went to sleep peacefully. We shall speak no more of them. When those 4 Devarajas retired their troops and stopped their fighting, each one of the heavenly commanders came to report his accomplishment. There were those who had captured lions and elephants, and those who had apprehended wolves, crawling creatures, and foxes. Not a single monkey monster, however, had been seized. The camp was then secured, a great tent was pitched, and those commanders with meritorious services were rewarded. The soldiers in charge of the cosmic nets were ordered to carry bells and were given passwords. They encircled the flower fruit mountain to await the great battle of the next day, and each soldier everywhere diligently kept his watch. So this is the situation. The fiendish monkey riots through heaven and earth, but the net spreads open, ready night and day. We do not know what took place after the next morning. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter. See, that one wasn't as long, right, Dom? I still don't understand what you're saying. Why walk everywhere when you can go fully tracked? I got nothing. I'm too naive. Oh, I know. Is that some, like, what signals? Is that like the ROTC or something? And yes, you always say again, not repeat, because repeat means send the bombs again. Mortar again. That's more what I meant. Exactly why my mom thought that shorter me needed to know how to talk to artillery batteries via the radio. It's always fun to tell random things to kids. Millions of peaches for me, millions of peaches for free. What is that from? Should I know what that's from? I feel like I recognize it, Sam, but I got nothing. Don't make fun of my making fun of myself. That's what happens when I get tongue-tied. I just blah, 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 blah. I spit out random noises. Don't judge me. Huh? You're in the Rippaverse Comics post. They're doing a cosplay contest. Cool. I'm assuming that's like on Twitter or something. And is a kind of map compass portal to all reality. Well, that's not how it's spelled. It's Horary. Yes. Means no worries all the rest of your days. It's a problem-free philosophy. Yeah, I get really tongue-tied whenever I have to say them, and like depending on how it's said, if it's the full thing, it's the handsome monkey king or just the monkey king or the great sage equal to heaven. It's fun to read for y'all, I swear. Yeah, whipping out God, the freaking WHIPING. All these people coming from the heavens challenging monkey are just like, excuse you. Okay, I'm You want bells and passwords, huh? I'm presuming you mean a kung fu monkey? Kung fun monkey too, I guess works, but read the next comment, Tiffany, and you might know. Presidents of the United States band has a song called Peaches. That's where it's from. Ah, I see. My bad, yo. What, the making fun of the Red Sox comment? When you delete comments, it does not delete them from StreamYard. So just a heads up. Oh, man. What do you guys think so far? Oh, gotcha. I wonder if Sun Wukong will become likable at some point. He has like these moments that sort of shine through where he has the potential. Like when I commented right before he changed his tune of you just give him something to do and it motivates him. But then he immediately turned around and ruined that. It drives me crazy. That is not quite true, Jack. First of all, they come from a jar. The good ones. The apocalypse ones come from cans, sure. Fresh ones are the best, though. Now what character annoys you more, the monkey or Eleanor? Oh, definitely Eleanor. At least with Sun Wukong, like, he has a desire to better himself, whether it be for selfish reasons or not. There's actually something there that you can admire. Eleanor, on the other hand, was simply crazy and also lacking in motivation and really no redeeming features whatsoever. Redeeming qualities, I guess, would be a better way. I definitely made a tweet there, devil. Welcome, though. You just ignore me now? You didn't want to quote tweet it? I'm so used to it, and yet you just ignored it. I'm gonna go cry now. Maybe someday I'll try and make you guys believe me when I do stupid shit like that. There definitely was a post. I just didn't share it in the group chats. And also, don't listen to Cliff because he liked the post. So don't try me, troll. You did not look for it hard enough. You know what you could have done? You could have went to my profile and scrolled through it just for like the day. Your like was made with AI? Highly doubtful. There's a bot account out there mirroring yours. You're trolling too, punk. Though I don't think... Did you like it? Whatever. You did like it. You are a punk. Ha. Fact checked, sir. Just now. Don't even. Unless you're saying you liked it just now. That's possible. I'll give you that. 2.5 hours. What did you guys do to me? I'm blaming all of you. Definitely was not me chatting like a woman. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. You're fake news. I do not spread misinformation, sir. It's rude. Have a good night, Blue Cord. You do the same, sir. It's always good to see you in here, man. Take care of yourself. Thanks, Double. I know that sounded snarky, but, you know, I appreciated it. All right, everybody. I think on that note, I'm going to head out. Hope you guys have a good night. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share this out if you liked it and wish to do so. Don't forget to follow me if you don't. Everybody that's stayed with me, lurkers and beyond, you guys are all awesome, and I appreciate you every single time you show up. And everybody on the replay, you guys are amazing too. I can't thank you guys enough. It's been awesome. I love this stuff. Really glad I decided to do it. And I hope you guys like it and keep coming back for more. So I will see you next week, everybody.